Hello friends, welcome back to Liz's Reading Corner, or welcome if you're new here. I'm Liz and I like books, and today I have for you a TBR video. I have a few goals that I'm trying to work towards and a few challenges that I'm trying to complete, and so I figured one of the best ways to work towards those goals and challenges is to make monthly TBRs, and so here we are. I have a lot of catch up that I need to do because January and February were not great, but we'll get there. And so without further ado, this is my March TBR. There is a lot on this list. There is a lot of books on this list, but my thing is, if I don't read them all, it's not the end of the world. It's just I'll get to them eventually, but this is basically what I'm choosing from in March. I think there's like 30 or 31 books on this list at this point in time, and I've never read 30 books in a month, so I don't imagine that I'm actually going to. Actually, I shouldn't say that. I'm pretty sure I might have read 30 in December, but I don't normally read 30 books in a month, and so yeah, I just don't expect that I'm going to be getting through all of these. A big chunk of them are ebooks, which I do tend to read a lot faster than physical books, but yeah, we'll see how we go. So yeah, in March, for my most difficult novels challenge that I'm doing, so I'm reading through, or attempting to read through, the top 100 most difficult novels according to Goodreads readers. I have 4 books on that list actually that I am going to be reading. So I'm going to be reading, I'm going to be attempting to read. So I have The Idiot by Fyodor Dostoevsky. I tried actually reading this in February. February has been just as bad as January for reading, and I've barely read anything. So I'm just pushing this one back to March as well. I also have The Lighthouse by Virginia Woolf, Animal Farm by George Orwell, and Notes from the Underground, also by Fyodor Dostoevsky. I have the weekly prompts that I am trying to catch up on. So these are the books that I am going to be matching to the prompts that I am meant to be doing each week, but this year I'm determined to get them done, but my god, this year has just not been great. So anyway, Grave Empire by Richard Swan. I'm very excited for this one. This is a reread, but I need to get back into this world. A Queen's Glory by Christy M. Harris. She's a Queensland author, and if you haven't read this book, you need to read this book. It is so good. It is political fantasy. Phenomenal. This is one of the greatest fantasy books I have ever read. I love it so much. I also have, these are ebooks. Green and Purple Birds with Orange Feet by George Callahan. Norse mythology for my non-fiction pick. The Crash by Frida McFadden, which thankfully is on Kindle Unlimited because I am currently like 40 something in queue for the library reservation, so I'm not getting that anytime soon. Clever Little Thing by Helena Echlin. This one's really interesting. So this one, the main character's daughter, her personality changes after her babysitter dies, and they think that she's taken on the personality of her babysitter. So this is really interesting. Oh, sounds really interesting. I also have The Scariest Bedtime Scary Stories by Liber Occultus. I'm finally getting to The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins. I asked one of my friends for a friend pick, and she chose, so I asked Ollie, because she's amazing, and she chose Darkly by Marisha Pessl, so I will be going to pick that up from the library very soon. So one of the prompts was a book with a one-word title, and the Honest Book Reviewer, I think it was, added Shrike to his TBR, or he was going to be reading it, or he did read it, something like that. Anyway, Shrike was one of my favorite, or was my favorite horror story as a child. It was phenomenal, and I forgot it even existed. So I'm going to be reading Shrike by Joe Donnelly again because I loved that book so much. I'm so excited to read that again. hopefully it stands up to. I'm going to be reading Empire of Ivory by Naomi Novik, which is book 4 in the Tamara series. So I would really like to get that series finished this year. So I'm going to probably try and read either one book a month or one book every other month of that series. I'm going to be finally getting into the Ajin manga. I adored the anime, so it got turned into an anime. I think they only made 2 seasons. I don't know if the manga didn't continue or if just like they just didn't continue the anime series, and I'm assuming that it's based on the same thing because the covers look exactly the same. But so yeah, I'm finally getting around to reading the Ajin, what are they called? Ajin Demi-Human, I think is the title, by Suina Muwira, I think is how it's pronounced. And for the last of the prompts for this month at least, The Watchmaker of Filigree Street by Natasha Pulley. This is pretty interesting. I saw it on, I think it was recommended to, it was recommended to one of the YouTubers that I watch, and off the top of my head I've forgotten her name, but really interesting. So this is set in London in 1883. The main character returns to his home and finds a pocket watch on his pillow, and the watch saves his life from a bomb at Scotland Yard, and he has to, I guess, figure out where this watch comes from and deal with the chain of events that happens as a result of him not dying. Now, I have just heard from the bookshop, and they finally have The Final Empire in stock by Brandon Sanderson. So I can finally begin my Sanderson-a-thon. So I am going to be reading, or I was meant to be reading, one Brandon Sanderson book from the Cosmere series, or from the Cosmere universe every month. And it was meant to start in January, and it is the 27th of February, and they have finally gotten The Final Empire in. So I'm going to pick that up today so I can start reading in that series. I do have on the list The Final Empire, which is also Mistborn, I think it is in North America, or they've just started naming it Mistborn. But the first book in the Mistborn trilogy, the original Mistborn trilogy or series, whatever it is, and The Well of Ascension and The Hero of Ages. So I don't imagine I'm going to actually get to or through all 3 of those books this month because they are all very big books, but we can always hope, right? And then I have my Kindle Unlimited reads. So I have Kindle Unlimited. I have not been reading as much of it or I haven't been utilizing it as much as I would like to, and I am considering actually changing over to Kobo, but I have a couple of books on Kindle Unlimited that are not available on whatever the paid version of Kobo is. If you know, you know why I'm changing. But these are the Kindle Unlimited reads that I would like to try and get through this month if possible. The Moving Toy Shop by Edmund Crispin, Womb, which is a horror story by Duncan Ralston. That one actually sounds amazing. I can't remember who read it recently. A booktuber read it recently, and it sounded phenomenal. Seed by Anya Alborn is another horror book. I've been eyeing off for a while. I've had it borrowed for like 2 months now and I still haven't read it. Down the Hollow by Timothy Hobbs, which is also, I think, another horror book. I could be completely wrong. The Creeper by A.M. Shine, and there is the Crimson Tales trilogy by Elena Moriarty that I would really, really, really love to read. I've had it again borrowed for months and have been meaning to start it, and I still haven't. So they are The Hunt of the Halfling, The Shadow of the Serpent, and The Bones of the Banished. And this is, I think, slated as a romantasy, but it sounds really interesting. And then I would also like to get through the Emily Wilde trilogy. So I have When I'm Not Awkward. The actual 3 books of the trilogy. I own the first one, so Emily, When the Sun Decides to Cooperate, maybe not, Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies, and then I've got from the library Emily Wilde's Map of, the Other Lands, and Emily Wilde's Compendium of Lost Tales. So I'm going to be doing a reading vlog my first reading vlog of March is going to be reading these 3 amazing books. I love fairies, and I have tried reading Emily Wilde before. I love like supernatural and fae and all of that sort of thing. I love dragons, so I guess it's not surprising. But when I tried to read it last time, it was just not the right time for me to read it. So I'm going to actually try and get through the entire trilogy in the first weekend of March. And then also, I'm doing an English Lit course at uni, which is awesome because it means I actually have to read books for uni, so that's really cool. And I have to read The Hate U Give by Angie Thomas for my course, and so that one I'll definitely be reading. And I have no idea how many books that makes. I think it's like 32. Could be completely wrong. It is 32. Editing me will have cut out me actually counting through them all instead of on my spreadsheet just looking at the numbers, but it is what it is. So yeah, those are my books that I hope to read, or at least get through a majority of them in March. We'll see how we go. I guess time will only tell. Hopefully I'll get through. I would like to get through at least half of them. I imagine based on January and February's reading that there's going to be a lot of just no. Because in February, you'll hear it when I do my February wrap up, but I've really struggled to read. I'll read like the first page of a book and I'm just like, no, don't want to read this. So it's taken a long time to just sort of get out of this reading slump that I'm in, and hopefully March will do it, especially given my reading plans or the books on this list, the sheer number of books on this list. But anyway, all that rambling aside, have you read any of these books? If you have, I would love to hear your opinions on them. If you have any books you think that I would enjoy, I would love to hear. If you have any reading challenges that you would like me to do, please let me know in the comments down below. I appreciate you watching. If you have made it this far, you have no idea how much I appreciate you listening to me ramble about books every time I put out a video, and I'm sure my husband appreciates as well, because it means that I'm not talking his ear off about books. If you like what I do here, please like, share and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.